Well, last week we went back to 2018 and revisited that video when I did these arms for these Yellowstone coaches. I bent these arms for a customer that was doing his own coach, wasn't for one of mine. But I have bent these, as I mentioned before, and that's kind of interesting to bring up. I included the ending in the 1918 video, like I normally do. And then I closed it with the ending that I did on that particular video. And even when Diane watched it, she stopped it at the first ending, thinking that that was the end of the video, and didn't hear the explanation of what I have here to work with now. So I don't know if some of you did that as well, but I thought about that as I was putting it together, thinking, I wonder how many people are just going to say, okay, it's over, and didn't finish the video. Anyway, I have these blanks. They are full 3/4 inch thick, or actually they're closer to 1 inch thick. And they fit the curve here of this rear seat frame pretty well. Now I have the irons off of that 11 passenger, and this is the 11 passenger here that I'm working on. So as I put this kind of in position and take this iron and put it up against this, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this really well, but it's really pretty close to the right angle. As I try to hold that back vertical where it's going to be up against the frame, you can see we're pretty close to the correct angle according to this old iron. Now I do need to flatten this off so it sits flat here, and I need to put that 35-degree bevel on this edge as well. So I'm going to try to get these arms fitted to this seat back. So when I put this curve into it, remember it got thicker out here, so I had to readjust that so I'm consistent on this edge, which also laid it out just a bit. That's why I had to redo this angle here. So the goal is to have this set flat while this comes up vertical against that frame. And I think we're just about right there. So now this bevel kind of parallels this back curve, which fits up against this frame much better. It's going to sit right about so, except our spacer is going to push it out to where the outside edge of this arm is going to meet the inside edge of that bevel. So that's going to be about the thickness of our shim. And I'm still a little tall here. Remember, I want to head towards 6 inches, and I'm a little stronger than that so far. But we're pretty close to our edge here. I can fine-tune that a little bit. I didn't take it quite as deep on this end out here because I wanted to allow me some room to fit that, and it's going to kind of gradually decrease just a bit anyway. So I think we're going to be right in the ballpark there. So I'm 1 inch thick here, and I actually want to be down to about 5/8. That's the thickness of my other seat arms. So I'm going to do some hand sanding. I'm going to bring this away right in through here, and this will taper down away. And my bottom edge, I have a nice curve there, so I'll probably remain semi-symmetrical through it, about like so. But the top, see, it looks a little more straight, which it really is. So I'd like to bring this side in to the 5/8, and then when I get down to this end here, I'm going to bring this outside edge down to the 5/8, and it'll actually carve in the curve of this seat arm on the top. The bottom matches well, and the top would work like that, but I'd like to have a little more appearance of a curve, and I can do that with the thickness of the wood that I have here. Go with the inside and then shift to the outside. this is the bottom side. I've got a nice taper there. I could maybe go a little thinner there. It just has to work through kind of a transition. I have a better looking curve up top here, and it transitions there as well. This gets tapered back 15 degrees, so I'm hoping to get rid of most of that. That's the compression on the form where I bent it. This one was actually 22 inches. Remember I mentioned on that last video of 2018, I bent these at 23 inches. That extra inch would be nice, wouldn't it? I think that's where we're going to be pretty close. So put it up against the seat right in front. This is the angle that it's going to get cut off at. We're going to get rid of that. And this is the iron that will go on there. So generally the height is going to be right in here somewhere. So all this is going to go away. And as you remember, they get rounded over on the top corner, and that's going to help as well. So this is where that seat base set, and right here is where that arm was sitting. So we want to be in that area of about 6 inches. I'm about 1/4 of an inch taller, so I need to plane this down about that far. See if I'm square with my face here, which I'm not. And we're better there. So if I put my arm in position here and try to take the measurement of that width, it wouldn't be correct, because as this arm goes back, because it's following this curve, is also going to move in. So I'm going to have to remove this and try to put my arm in place and get a pretty close guess of what that width needs to be here. So right there, I'm right at 1 inch. So I want to leave 1 inch of thickness. And if I double check myself against the old one, I'm about 15/16. So we're right in that area. Oh, where's this? Right there. Our corners match up really well right there. That's nice. I'd call that beginner's luck. If I line my arm up to my bevel, I do have a little bit of a space there. If I pull that up tight, my arm comes out away a little too far. So I need to put a little bevel in here. I'd rather do that than try to affect this bevel here. That was the ticket. Press that up tight. Stay right there. As I bring this flush on the leading edge, I'm sticking out toward the back, which is good. You want to be sticking out 3/8 of an inch here, so when this back panel goes on, it'll actually be flush with the end of this. So this end grain is visible from the back side, but that all gets covered up with the leather boot, and you don't see any end grain from the side of the body. Remember, the upper portion of this filler shim gets tapered, and it's going to get tapered to match the angle of this arm. So I'm going to taper this down right about here to come down to that arm. So on the old back, this outside shim was 1 3/4 inches on the bottom, and that's right where I am. And that comes out just right for my side arm, because those 2 points match up right there very well. But this was tapered down to 1 5/8 inches. Not totally sure why that is necessary, but I think I'll put that 1/8 inch taper here before I put the bevel in. Then my bevel can follow that taper. Move my mark just a little bit. Well, I don't see any reason why I shouldn't be able to glue this spacer here in place. I don't want to glue this joint yet because I want this whole seat base to be removable, as I mentioned earlier. But I should be able to screw this arm down to the frame, and it'll all slide out as one unit. So just when you think it can't get any more complicated, it seems like it gets more complicated. 3 screws at 3 different angles, because this twists and flares and curves as it comes out. But this assembles the right rear seat arm for this 11 passenger. I didn't glue the upright yet, I just have it clamped in place so that everything is in its place while this joint dries. So I'll just let this set and cure, maybe do some facing off. I still have to fit this to the iron that goes up. It'll get tapered down, this gets beveled, and it all gets rounded over, but I'm going to do that after this glue sets up. 1 down, 3 to go. Appreciate you coming along. Thanks for watching.